I shall pledge allegiance. Thank you. I am giving notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. The first thing on our agenda, even though it's not on our actual agenda, of course, we do have a very special night tonight. Joining us for the first time, even though when I say first time, I will say that before his actual appointment was July 1st, he started way ahead of time learning about the Attleboro Public Schools and buildings. So at this time, I am very proud to introduce for the school committee our new superintendent of the schools, Mrs. Kenneth Sheehan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Ken. Would you like to say any words?
No. No. I think that the transition, having done this a few times, I thought the transition that was planned prior to the start of July 1 was one of the best that I have seen, not just the outline and the format, but the selection of the schools and people, administration and other directors throughout the district. It was well planned. I really felt comfortable coming in on July 1. I felt like I had already been here for 6 months. David Murphy and many of the school committee members understand that we had put in dozens and dozens of hours prior to starting the job officially, but all of that time was well spent. It was a good acclimation to the district. And I absolutely owe a tremendous amount of gratitude and debt to Ann McGinnis and Judy Nelson and David Sawyer and Marissa and people at central office and the administration. They have been extremely helpful as several members of the school committee as well for the transition into the superintendency in Attleboro. I'm very much looking forward to being a superintendent, and I really believe that we are going to achieve the goals that have been set forth with the comprehensive assessment and many others over the next several years.
Thank you, Ken. On the behalf of the committee, I also welcome you, obviously, with open arms. If anybody on the committee would like to add anything at this time, Dave?
Just say welcome, congratulations. We wish you the best of luck. You'll be held to a very high standard, but I know that's what you want out of this job, so we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I hold myself to those same high standards, so that won't be
That's why you're
anything
here.
new.
Again, welcome, Ken, and
Thank you.
we're very happy to have you here. Okay, moving on to open forum. This is a time when members of the public may address the school committee. Open forum is not a time for committee members to engage in dialogue with members of the public. Guidelines for open forum are available to you up at the podium. Please know that we are interested in what you have to say, but we cannot respond without background information on your issue. Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. No one wishing to speak at open forum? And close open forum. Now we have an approval of minutes from June 3rd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have approval of minutes for June 17th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have approval of minutes of June 27th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Moving on to our consent agenda. We have a motion to accept the donation of plumbing tools / equipment from Rigid Corporation to the CTE plumbing program with an estimated value of $2,700.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation of a Duster Model 2000 air cleaning system from the Minuteman Press of Seacon to Attleboro High School with an estimated value of $1,700.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation of a spiral punch system and pocket eliminator from the Minuteman Press of Seacon to Attleboro High School with an estimated value of $1,500.
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $305 from the Men's Warehouse to Attleboro High School class of 2013 to be deposited in the gifts/donations line.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $215 from the Men's Warehouse to the Attleboro High School class of 2014 to be deposited in the gifts/donations line.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. The motion to accept the donation in the amount of $30.75 from the Cartridge World's North Attleboro to Skills USA to be deposited in the gifts donations line at the Attleboro High School.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $49.61 from Coca-Cola to be deposited in the gifts/donations line at the Attleboro High School.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept a product donation from the North Attleboro Joanne's Fabric and Craft Store from the Kids in Need Foundations for the Warmsetter Middle School.
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's passed. Motion to accept the donation of the following equipment from Sensata, and I do apologize, I'm getting that wrong, Technologies, to be equally distributed between the three middle schools. 16 Dell D630 laptops with power adapter with an estimated total value of $2,800. 44 Dell Precision M65 laptops with power adapter with an estimated total value of $8,800. And 3 Norwood Commercial Furniture 24 outlet laptop charging carts with an estimated total value of $1,500.
So moved.
Discussion? I think all I would have to say about this very generous donation in trying to get the Attleboro Public Schools on the technology track. So, Sensata, I'm sorry I'm getting your name wrong before. I apologize for that. And going forward, I will make sure I get it absolutely correct.
Especially if they keep giving laptops.
Thank you, Dick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $555.20 for the Stop and Shop A+ Rewards Program to the Hill Roberts Elementary School to be deposited in the gifts donations line.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bill, I'm
No,
sorry.
sorry.
Abstained? Motion passes. Bill?
Yeah, I think these are fantastic. I just did some rough math. I mean, the gifts that we just accepted, I mean, is roughly $20,000 worth of gifts to the system. And for all those involved in getting those gifts to the system and those who will be using it, I mean, thank you very much. And obviously from the donors, it's a huge help, so.
Absolutely, Bill. Absolutely. The committee totally agrees with that concept.
Oh, I'm not saying that we disagree, I just.
More donations are better. We are trying to do more with less, but every little help we can get.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely is critical to the school system. So thank you, Bill, for adding that to them. Under new business, we have Willett Elementary School Principal, Superintendent's appointment, and Mr. Sheehan.
Members of the committee, I'm very proud to introduce you tonight to the new principal of Willett Elementary School. Mr. Caton, would you please stand? This young man, his name is Jeffrey Caton. He's a resident of Sonnet, Massachusetts. He's a graduate of Boston University and the State University of New York at Potsdam, where he earned his elementary degree. Mr. Caton also has a degree in computer science. Mr. Caton brings with him 5 years of administrative experience at the elementary level and 12 years experience as an elementary teacher. I believe that Mr. Caton's experience and deep passion for the education of all children and their families will serve Willett education community very well. Mr. Caton proved to all of the members of the selection committee to be a very passionate and understands very well the concept of consensus building and collaboration. I know, and I'm very confident that he will continue to focus on the high standards and excellence that the Willett Elementary School community has embraced. Also with Mr. Kane tonight is his wife, who I met last week. So it's Mr. and Mrs. Caton.
Could you please step forward up to the If you'd like your wife to join you, that's fine with us too. The more the merrier. But please just, right at the front table. Sure. Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's been a great transition. I'm meeting a lot of people and getting acclimated to the Willett Way. As the signs are posted all over the building, and it's been great. Everybody's been so helpful and welcoming and accommodating, and it's really been nice. I enjoy coming to work each day. Hard to say that sometimes in August, but it's a pleasure to be there. It really is.
I want to wish you the best of luck. I think I do have to state that Willett schools have been through a lot of transition in the last couple of years. They deserve better, and I'm hoping you're in for the long term. I say there's been a lot of changeover in that school, and they've been very vocal about it to this committee and to the community at large. They're a very special school to us, obviously, and we're guaranteed with Mr. Sheener's recommendation that we have the right person, but I just want you to know that the little background on that, there has been a lot of transition in that school, so it would be really nice to see some stability in that district, and I'm hoping we can-
And that's my hope. I'm here to stay and be part of the Willett family. So it's been great, and I have no plans to go anywhere. I like it. It's nice.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the committee, Mr. O'Neill.
Yeah, excellent. Well, welcome to Attleboro. Welcome to Willett. It's a great school. You're going to meet some great people, and I look forward to working with you as time goes by. My son will be going there in the next couple of years. And also, if you have any questions or concerns, give me a holler. I live around the corner.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Barbara?
Yes, I'd like to welcome you too. I have some very close friends whose children go to Willett School, and they have some wonderful programs, and they're looking for that stability, so I'm very glad to have you, and I'm sure they are too, and I know you'll do a wonderful job and make us all proud, so thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. This is a great school system. It really is.
Brenda?
Welcome. But there's one thing that I have to say is that not many people bring their spouses to, the appointment of a new position. So that really means a lot. Thank you for coming, supporting your husband, because right there, that truly displays of how dedicated that you will be to our school. So thank you.
I try to give him a lot of support in other areas
Thank you.
of his life so he can be the best. And
That's nice. Thank you. That's really nice. So good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Sheenan, and for the search committee that was involved in this. And we want to let you know you have our full support, and I want to welcome you and your wife both to the Attleboro community. We're very glad to have you, and wish you a lot of success at Willett.
Thank you. I look forward to working with the committee along with the superintendent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, before I continue, I think as we can all see, there's a little bit different layout of the school committee room. The reason for that is such, and maybe that, when I'm hearing speakers from the crowd, it's very hard for me as a hearing aid user to hear people from the crowd. So we're going to request that anyone that's going to come and speak before the committee is going to sit, we enlarge the table to accommodate more people, so we don't have the couple in the audience. So if we have people in the future that are going to speak in front of the committee, I wish they would all just come up to the table. We'll adjust the speakers as needed for you. We want to hear what you have to say. But that's kind of one of the adjustments that we made. One of the second adjustments that we made is that Superintendent Sheehan will be the only administrator sitting at the school committee table. The reason for that is such, I should say twofold, not such. Twofold is our administration right now is really looking at making a total game plan of where we're going to go as an Attleboro district. They've worked very hard over the years, there's no doubt about that. They need time with their families, they need time to adjust to whatever type of plan that Mr. Sheehan is going to bring into the Attleboro School District. And when you need time, you need a break. And you need a break with your family, you need to relax. And From time to time, if there's going to be something on the agenda that Ken Sheehan, our superintendent, is going to require an administrator to come up and speak at the podium with us, or the table, I should say, as support of whatever that issue is. But we really need to have people kind of take a deep breath now. This is new. There's going to be new things being thrown out. Ken needs the time to work with his administrators, and we do not need to beat them to death and take them away from their family for any more time than what's actually that we need. So I hope everybody respects kind of the new thing that we're doing here, and believe me, it's just trying to give everybody a little bit of a break. Everybody's been really stressed to the point, and we're just trying to do this in a respectful fashion. It means no way disrespect to our administrators that have joined us up at the table. They bring a lot to the plate. I think this committee supports all their efforts and realizes all the hard work they've done since their appointment. So, again, I just want to bring that up. But if anybody's going to come talk in front of the committee, I do wish that they would come to the table. It just makes it a little easier for me to hear, so Brenda doesn't have to tell me an issue what they're actually saying. So, again, I just want to let everybody know that little change that we're having. So next on the new business, we have the superintendent's recommendation to appoint, in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 71, Section 53, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, school physician, in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 76, Section 18,
19.
Yeah.
19, I'm sorry, supervisor of attendance. Mr. Sheehan.
At this time, members of the committee, I would like to recommend the appointment of Dr. Entwistle, who is currently your school physician, to the school physician position, and I would like to extend that to a 3-year contract. There is no increase in that contract from last year to this year. You want me to do this, you want to do one at a time?
One at a
Mr. Chair?
time, yes, Ken, please. Okay, so right now we have a motion on the floor to appoint as a school physician, Dr. Entwistle, to a 3-year contract.
Second.
Discussion? All those, Dave?
I just had a question. Is it traditionally a 3-year contract, or is that a change?
Usually a 1-year contract. In Attleboro, it has been a 1-year contract. It comes up every single year.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do is kind of lock in Dr. Entwistle. He's done a great job for you. I'd also like to do it with regard to the financial picture as well.
Sure.
And it's something that we don't have, we can save money in the long run with regard to not having to advertise and post and do all those other secretarial and clerical pieces. So I think that's the most expedient and most expeditious way to, in fact, appoint the physician, the school physician.
Thank you.
And by Mass General Law, the maximum is 3 years.
Correct.
Okay. Any more discussion? We have the motion, it has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Members of the committee, I'd also like to recommend the appointment of John Newport as the supervisor of attendance, also for a 3-year contract. Mr. Newport has done a great job for you with regard to as being attendance officer, and the salary has not been increased either.
Okay. So we have a motion to appoint as a supervisor in attendance, Mr. John Newport, for a 3-year contract.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Sheehan. Our next item on the new business is we have Whitson's, an introduction of the Attleboro Public School for Food Service Manager, Heather Brunette, I hope I got that right, and Tom Rose, our business manager. So if you please both come forward up to the table. Well, Tom, we know you, but welcome, Heather.
Welcome, Tom.
Please, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the school committee. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce Heather to you. Heather will be the food service manager for our school district. Heather comes highly regarded. John Prunier and his staff did a very thorough search last winter and spring, and came up with, after a very, very close review, a decision to hire Heather. Heather is on board, and she's excited about the challenges, and we're very, very happy to have Heather on board, and look forward to a very good school year.
Thank you, Tom. Heather?
I just wanted to let you know I am very excited to be here. Attleboro Public Schools is a phenomenal place. I've been well trained and I have great support from Whitson's, and I'm here to give it 110%. So I'm very, very happy to be here.
Thank you, Heather. Any questions from the committee? Ken?
Hi, Ms. Boudin. First, welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Second, I hate to put you on the spot here, but our system's up and running online for the payroll, and that'll all be communicated to our parents coming up in the near future. Is that all good to go?
The answer is it will be good to go. It's not good to go as of this date, but it will be good to go for the start of the school year.
Okay, because I think it's very important for parents to know that they could be paying online, and we gotta
Right.
communicate that.
Yes, completely agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Mr. Pear brings up a good point also. Will it also be communicated to the parents about how they will be contacted if their child's account is, getting low, in the negative, how much they have? That's all going to be online where they can check that and basically their responsibility, I guess, would you say? Or what do you have in plan for that?
Well, what the program will allow parents to do is when they log in, they have to log in with an email.
Okay.
And so they can access the account, they can know the balances and things. They don't have to use it for prepayment. They can just use it for balance alerts and things like that. And you don't have to use it if you choose not to. We'll still be doing the phone calls and things like that. So,
Perfect. So
it's
Wednesday.
just another tool in our box to get that communication out to parents if they would like to use it.
Great.
You can set up so basically if you go below a threshold, like say $20, my counselor, that they'll send you an email. So.
And the ones that don't have computers, which is great, you guys are still doing on your end, how to
Absolutely.
communicate that. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Just as a message, Heather, if in fact you're having difficulty with regard to payment or contacting of parents or whatever, please feel free to use the office of the superintendent by which to assist you in doing that. Instead of going to the children through the school or whatever, I'd rather do it myself through my office.
Absolutely.
Talk adult to adult, not students to adults.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, and welcome, Heather. And, I'll talk about the elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about sometimes, but that's my job. We've had problems in the past, and I think I'm just going to kind of piggyback what Mr. Sheehan just said. I think we need to make sure that yourself and the staff of Whitson is very familiar with the policies and procedures of the Attleboro School District. And that's something I'm hoping that you'll really start your new thing off. It's very important to us. We do not want to walk down that road again. We don't live in the past. We move forward. But I think policies and procedures of the Attleboro School District are very important, and that's why, Mr. Sheehan, I'm glad you offering that support. And we wish you the best of luck. But the policies and procedures are very important to everybody, and I know you're going to do a great job at it. And I wish you the best of luck moving forward on your job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Wish you all the best. Next up, we have our Bi-County Collaborative Annual Representative Appointment. And I'm going to hand this off to Superintendent Sheehan.
A new regulation that started this year makes it certain that the annual appointment that represents the Attleboro school system must be the superintendent of schools, and it must be, in fact, voted on by the school committee annually. So I bring this to your attention at this time. So the BICO Collaborative, in fact, needs to have a representative, and the representative has to be myself. And you, in fact, have to be knowledgeable of that and probably vote on that. There was some question with regard to that in the past. Some school districts, in fact, had sent representatives or liaisons of the superintendent. They do not have the voting power, nor do they make a quorum of that particular board. When you sit on those boards, it's like a school committee. The superintendents act almost in the school committee capacity to the BICO Collaborative, and that's why they had to make sure it's done that way. And there's also stipulations with regard to attendance on the board. One of the pieces that if in fact you miss 4 meetings in a year, in fact, your school system is punished financially through the BICO Collaborative now, under the bylaws, and in fact, you don't have the privilege of a reduced tuition rate. You go with what the regular rate would be. And it could be a $10,000 difference for every single child. So it encourages superintendents to make sure that they don't send a representative that doesn't have any voting power, that there will always be a quorum to make decisions, and in fact, the districts are represented accordingly. That was the mindset behind it.
Okay. Ken, is that superintendent slash designee or just superintendent?
Superintendent, period. No designee any longer.
No designee.
Because they were, most superintendents, or a lot of superintendents were sending a designee,
Okay.
and they don't represent the school committee. The superintendent, as an agent of the school committee, they represent the school committee, and that's why they made sure it was done that way.
Okay. So I'm gonna put the motion out there, then we'll have a discussion. I'm gonna put the motion to appoint Superintendent Ken Sheehan to the Bi-County Collaborative Annual, as the Bi-County Collaborative Annual Representative.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. We just keep adding more and more to your plate, Ken, it just keeps going.
It's okay.
Thank you, Ken. We have a school committee subcommittee proposed 2013-14 meeting schedule. I'm gonna let Superintendent Sheehan lead it off, and then we'll take the discussion from there. Ken?
With regard to the subcommittee proposal and the school committee proposal, I'm looking at proposing to the school committee that you look at monthly school committee meetings instead of bi-weekly. At the same time, if you see on the other page, you have the curriculum and instruction committee meetings, you have the finance, facilities, and procurement facility meeting, and you have the policy subcommittee meetings, and there are numerous. With that, there is basically no change in the subcommittee meetings that meet on that monthly basis or on that regular basis. And the only change, in fact, would be limiting the school committee meetings on a consistent basis to once a month. That is not to say, if things were to come up that you needed a special meeting, whatever, you certainly could have a special meeting. But I think it's a lot easier to, in fact, have a special meeting or an additional meeting than it is to when you possibly would cancel a meeting. So that's my rationale behind it, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Go ahead, Brenda.
When you mentioned about the subcommittee meetings, our policy subcommittee meeting used to meet every month. So you are actually doing the same as you would do for curriculum every other month. That's what you're proposing. I thought I heard you say that finance was the same and the other two were every other month, but that was just our curriculum. So you're proposing that policy would be every other.
What I did with the policy one, after conferring with some people, that I took the amount of actual meetings that took place in the 2012-13 school year, because some of them were canceled along the way. So I took what you had as the amount, and I put it into this one here.
Okay.
Knowing that, how often, in fact, do you need to have a policy committee meet? And when you do meet, that it's actually worthwhile and you're not wasting your time and there's pieces on the agenda.
Right. No,
Just as you know, Mrs. Furtado, just as if in that fact this is voted tonight, then the very first thing on the next meeting is to amend a policy, because your current school committee policy calls for 2 meetings a month. And that would have to be amended.
Okay.
And you have a draft form sitting in front of you.
Yes, yes, we do, we all do. Okay, great, and that's what you're recommending, and I mean, I sometimes, yes, do agree with you, because there are times that we've had meetings and we're here for 10, 15 minutes and we adjourn, so.
And if things came up,
Right.
for example, we know that technology is going to be huge in this district over the next couple of years especially. And we know that we're going to have to develop policy with regard to proper use policy, the home policies, bringing your own device policies, and those particular things. So we know we might have the need to start developing those, and we are. If you do in fact find that we'd rather have it, one done in October or one done in December, you can also add it to the agenda at any time.
Right.
And we can post that and do that.
Nope, that sounds good. Thank you.
Ken?
Yeah, I would say that, when I saw this, I did question, we do meet twice a month now, and I feel that we were elected to watch over half of the city's budget, over $60 million. And that I would like to continue meeting twice a month myself, and, even though I understand much of our work's done outside the meetings, I know a lot of parents, a lot of community, they really do look towards these meetings, see what's going on top of the house in the school district, either through the DoubleACS, through the Sun, or through the Patch. A lot of parents get the information from here, and I just don't find that meeting once a month would be sufficient to inform the parents and to really do our job.
Bill?
I don't have a major objection of going from 2 meetings to 1 meeting. I guess my only concern would be, and I guess the question would have to go to Mr. Sheehan and his staff, because on some of the, if you look at the way the dates fall, some of the subcommittees would meet about 3 weeks before the next full school committee meeting. So if we're dealing with something at a subcommittee level that needs to then get moved forward to the full committee, it could be almost the better part of 3 weeks. And just from a timeliness point of view, as long as you and Mr. Sawyer and the rest of the administrators are comfortable with that, I'm fine with that, I guess. That was
And I think if
really
it's-
the only thing that kind of stuck out at me when I was looking at the calendar, was that little bit of a time lag that we'll have to get used to the new schedule, so.
And I think, Mr. Lawson, that in those particular situations, we would ask the chair to have an additional one. If
okay.
it met, the timeline, if we're under timeline constraints, et cetera, then we would ask for an extra meeting, and a special meeting to accommodate that.
Okay, that's fine.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm concerned about meeting just once a month myself, for a couple reasons. One is that stuff comes up in any given month. Some crisis or emergency comes before this committee, and if we have to put it off for 2-3 weeks and/or have to schedule a special meeting, now we've put ourselves in a behind the schedule of dealing with something position. The other thing that concerns me too is that, as much as I like the idea of meeting once a month, what concerns me is that if we're meeting once a month, we're going to be meeting for longer. And especially for those of us who work and then commute and everything else, most of our meetings, generally speaking, we run to 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is a pretty reasonable amount of time to be sitting here at the end of a workday. But if we cut the number of meetings in half, I think it's safe to assume that most of the meetings are going to go later than that. And I think our efficiency and our ability to handle any given problem on any given night starts to drop precipitously after, let's say, 9 o'clock. And once you start coming up on 10 o'clock, people get frayed and a little difficult to deal with.
I would hope, Mr. O'Neill, that with what you've said, that those issues that would require, or that you'd bring up to a school committee meeting, I would hope that they would be handled long before the school committee meeting anyways, and utilize the office of the superintendent in order to investigate any of those potential concerns or whatever, and that it actually wouldn't end up being at a school committee meeting. It would be actually handled in a more expeditious manner.
Right.
And more an immediacy to it. If it was that important, that would require a school committee meeting. I would hope that it would be dealt with in a little faster period of time anyways.
Right.
And that can always happen, and that's what the office of the superintendency is supposed to be.
Dave?
I think, to Mr. O'Neill's point with regard to emergencies and crises come up, I think in the past, emergencies and crises have come before this committee partly because we have so many meetings, and it's a platform essentially for emergencies and crises.
It's true too.
It is true that some of the meetings will have to be longer, and it's also true that when there are pressing issues, not just with regard to a vote, but issues in which we need the platform to communicate information of an urgent matter, I think those are the times where the superintendent and the chairman should confer and schedule meetings. I think that this is one of those changes that will have to be monitored at a minimum at a weekly and really almost at a daily basis to determine when exactly it is necessary. But for those who watch or attend these meetings on a regular basis, I think one could reasonably conclude that we can conduct all the business that needs to be done in most months with a monthly meeting. Again, the reality is there are going to be meetings that are called on short notice, so they're not shorter than 48 hours, and that will happen. But and also, I think, frankly, as the chairman said at the beginning of the meeting, we are in a transition period right now. That transition, it does continue in the coming months, and I think giving the administrators that extra time in the evening to work on that transition, and frankly, to some degree, this is the new superintendent's recommendation, and I feel, keeping in mind that we need to monitor it, we owe Mr. Sheehan a certain level of deference in these first couple of months to determine sort of, where we go from here.
And I think for both Mr. O'Neill and yourself, Mr. Murphy, it's really about appropriate communication from the superintendent's level to the school committee, keeping them informed, being able to answer the questions expeditiously and accurately, so you can go back to your constituents or yourself and those concerns and so forth. That communication, in fact, will always be there.
Yeah, and just in response to that, Mr. Sheehan, I mean, as you said, most times, most of these issues can be resolved without this committee convening. There will be instances where we can't, but that's why we need to monitor it closely, and when meetings need to be scheduled, they'll be scheduled. And if it turns out, by the way, a month from now, we realized, well, a couple things, then we're going back to.
Right,
to
and if
meetings
it's not
tomorrow.
enough, go back.
Right, but I think
You have a right to do that.
it is the first recommendation, besides appointing yourself to the BICO committee, which is an obligation that you're making, and I think we need to see how this would work.
And this recommendation does not come out of the air. This recommendation was discussed at length with the chair and other members. And what we're trying to do with regard to the perception gap and what's taking place in the district, and showing our best foot forward and showing the committee in the light that it's supposed to be shown in. And so it plays a major role for what we're looking to do in the district.
Brenda.
And just sitting down and having talks with you, and your vision of going forward and moving forward, and the respect that you have for administration. And like we said, we all need to sit back, take a deep breath. Things, need to settle a little bit. Is that having the meetings once a month does that for your administration, for yourself? I believe, and just having talks with you, is that when we come to a school committee meeting, we get down to business. It's straightforward. Here it is, with your communication that I feel that you will have, which is a huge part of this committee. And having that up front, knowing what's going on, and like you said, if there's an issue, it's taken care of. I feel that things, whether it's communication, school committee meetings, it's going to be different, it's going to be expedited, but it will be precise too. So I definitely will support you on this. Hopefully it passes, but I do support your recommendation, and I think, yes, we do owe it to you to see how it works. And like you said,
If it doesn't,
if it doesn't, the chairman finds out, we're all emailing, and then we just, move forward and we adjust. But thank you.
Ken?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, we've been doing this for almost 20 months now. And I can honestly say that at these full meetings, I think we always get something accomplished. I don't think we've ever really walked out here and said, well, that was a waste. But more importantly than that is, we have consistent attendance at these meetings. We have 8 of us here, almost every full school committee. If you look at all the special meetings of the past, that's not true. Sometimes we're worried if we're going to get a quorum when we hold a special meeting. The consistency that we have of attendance here means that we can do our job. At special meetings, we don't always have that ability. As like I said, I'm going to still vote against this change, but it has to go up to vote.
Thank you, Ken. Fran?
I think we can give it a try and see how it works. If it doesn't work, then we can go back to the other way. You never know if you don't try something. Let's give it a shot.
Nothing to lose. Now that everybody's had a chance, when Superintendent Sheehan first ran this by me, I was like, whoa, let's stop for a minute, let's put the brakes on. And you immediately said, well, let's talk to the administration. We talked to the administration. Our number one concern was finance right off the bat. And Tom related. No, we can still do this. I mean, this is doable. He's got to make sure that everything's in line. Yes, if anything, I think any meeting that would actually require a special meeting besides something that we don't normally do here as a committee would be finance. Those things happen more than anything usually in any other subject that we deal with. But as Mr. Sheehan pointed out, we're not looking for a suspension of policy here. There is a policy. Brenda brought it up earlier, and I appreciate that. It's policy BE, and that governs school committee meetings. So we're not looking for a suspension of policies, we're looking to amend the policy. Once the discussion gets done tonight, the vote would be about amending the policy, but it has to go to policy first, period. I mean, I do not want a suspension of policy. We really haven't done that as a committee. I don't feel comfortable going there. I'm sure that Brenda can handle the logistics of that if the committee feels that we want to walk down this road. I agree with what Ken said. Yes, the public does like to see us up here. But as I stated earlier in the meeting, and Mr. Murphy and Ms. Furtado related to, this is a new administration. There's going to be new thoughts of mine that they're going to work into the agenda of running these schools. A lot of our school committee minutes, if you will, especially on a new business, are presentations that were given to the school committee. I think we all love the presentations when they come in here, but it's kind of hard to give a presentation when we really don't know where we're walking right now. We're trying to take the best of what we did the old way, and we're trying to improve upon it to come up with a better finished product, and that requires time. So I myself would look forward to seeing those presentations maybe sometime in February, April of next year, whenever this administration and Mr. Sheehan have come up with the plan that they want to move forward with there. But, I mean, so I just don't want to elaborate that, and I only say that because Mr. O'Neill said that, yes, I don't think any meeting after 3 hours is very conductive. Matter of fact, I think we've all probably borne witness to that at one time or another. And we don't want that to happen. But just like our meeting tonight, the agenda kind of looks full, but then when you look up at the clock, it's 20 minutes of 8. So I realize what you're saying, Chris, but that would have to be something that, as long as I'm chair here and Mr. Sheehan would have to work on to make sure that we're giving a reasonable agenda, looking out for the best time frame of this committee and for the administration and the public as a whole. So I would never overwhelm, give you a 3-page agenda to say, well, we have to see that tonight till 11. But
Frankly, I'm willing to give it a try to the end of December. I'm sure it'll work out okay.
okay. But I understand your concern, Chris. I really do. I understand your concern. We've walked down that road before.
End of December, new term. Look at new term. There you go.
We don't want to talk about it.
Mr. Tyler, Mr. Chair, you mentioned presentation and so forth. This won't discount, and I'm very much looking forward to presenting different materials as well as a lot of my administration. We already have the first 2 presentations already planned early, such as maybe September and maybe October or November. They will be in with regard to the MCAS results, but also with the technology plan, where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. This administration, with the help of the school committee and the city council and the mayor, will in fact squeeze 10 years of plans into a year and a half. And we will get there, technology-wise, and we've already had 4 meetings of the technology committee and with the mayor and other players, stakeholders, if you will, regarding where we are going technology-wise, and you need to know exactly what that looks like. So that will be one of the first ones that we actually do.
Thank you. Do we have any other, well, actually, we'll put the motion out there, and then we'll open it up for discussion if there's anything that hasn't been answered. So I'm going to make a motion that we send to the policy subcommittee to amend policy BE that governs school committee meetings, and amend them to the point where there will be monthly school committee meetings. And Ken, I just want to check with you with that, because you laid it out all the way till
The following year.
okay, so it is done. Okay, for the years 2013 and 2014.
That's correct.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Mr. Tyler, I just want to make sure, I know you mentioned in your motion, school committee meetings, do you need to put in the subcommittee also? You said to amend the school committee meetings.
In subcommittee meetings, I'm
All
sorry,
right,
yes, yes.
all right, so I
Last
just want to
subcommittee.
amend, okay.
Judy, can you?
Can you
Amend
amend that to add, yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure, just so
Thank
we're
you.
clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we need a second on the amendment?
Second.
Thank you, and then there you go.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Parent? Abstain? Motion passes. And Ms. Asher, Brenda, if you can put this on the earliest
Yes.
policy subcommittee.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to personnel report. David Sawyer, Assistant Superintendent. Welcome, David.
Thank you. I have a number of items for you this evening. Summertime's a busy time for us. We have 3 retirements. Linda Azevedo, an LPN at Thatcher. Linda Feeney, the senior clerk typist at Wamsutta. And Carolyn Maxud, the parent educator for Project Connect. We have 2 resignations. Melissa Mulroy, a math science teacher at Coelho, and Joseph Pinola, a physics teacher at the high school. For appointments, we already met Mr. Gayton tonight, principal at Willett. We also have, since we last did a personnel report, appointed Scott Johnson to Hill Roberts. We also have Frederick Souza, the assistant principal of Coelho. Caitlin Allen, a grade 4 teacher at Willett. Frank Balkersell, the information support and systems and networks teacher for the high school, the CT program, the computer program. Patrick Callahan, social studies teacher for the high school. Brendan Fennessy, a ELA social studies teacher for Wamsutta. Stephanie Forte, a special ed teacher for the high school. Nicole Laramie, a grade 2 teacher at Willett. James Leonard, a team chair for the high school. Arthur Levine, the plumbing teacher for the high school. Brooke Lindsay, grade 1 at Hill Roberts. Jessica Long, grade 2 at Hill Roberts. Christine Mastrogiacomo, a ELA teacher at Brennan. Sherry Membrano, a medical assistant teacher for the high school. Yuritsa Ruiz, a design and visual communication teacher for the high school. Wanda Sylvia, the instructional technology teacher for Wamsutta. And finally, Tom Evans, technical specialist here in central office.
I do have a question.
Questions on Dave and then Brenda?
Yep.
Mr. A lot of those appointments, I would assume, are new staff members coming into the district for the first time.
Many of them.
Is there a 30 to 45-second version of the sort of orientation program that the district offers for teachers coming in for the first time to help them get acclimated in the community?
Well, as part of the grant we have through our Race to the Top, the HR pilot project grant, we completely redesigned what we refer to as the induction program. It's a year-long program where we bring people new to Attleboro in. We treat new educators a little bit differently than we do people who are experienced educators but new to Attleboro. But both groups get a full year of mentoring. We have a mentoring program that's part of that induction program. There are special mentoring meetings, and there's 2 days of orientation, which are August 27th and 28th. We have a full day at the district where we introduce them to the district and go over some important information that they need to know to be employees here. And then we do some other things like take them on a bus tour of Attleboro and show them around. And then the second day is a half day, and that's in the buildings where they get to meet people in their building, and the principal provides an experience that's sort of related to what they'll be doing. And then they get the second half of that day to start preparing their classroom.
Thank you.
Brenda?
Question. Wamsutta, instructional technology teacher.
Yes.
Was there always a teacher there
Yes.
for instructional technology?
Yes.
It's just that, okay, so obviously.
Yeah, Mr.
that-
Walsh retired.
Okay, so that's what, all right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My question is, Mr. Sheehan, have you've had oversight over all new appointees?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I really have to give a lot of credit to Mr. Sawyer and two of the things that the HR pilot program did under Race to the Top for the district One of them, in fact, is the induction program, which allows for the mentoring of all of our new staff members. The second piece was, under the human resource piece, is the way that we consistently now look at hiring nothing but the best. And it's a very transparent process in which Mr. Sawyer and I have had numerous conversations. This process will be extremely transparent. In other words, it won't be top-down. It will be teachers within the school will be part of that screening committee and interview committee, the administration from the school, central administration will also be part of that process. We look at it for the screening process first, then we look at the interview process, and then those finalists come to central office, as many as 4, but usually 3 candidates, and we go through the second wave of interviews with some of them if necessary, and we pick nothing but the best. Our job, central office-wise, and our billing administration, which Mr. Rooney is here, and Mr. Caton will be part of this, is to hire the very best personnel that we possibly can for every position within the district. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we are going to do. And it will be a very transparent process.
Brenda?
I don't even know if this is, you mentioned about the HR department, Human Resource Department.
I actually mentioned
Is
HR as the pilot program, HR, but we don't specifically have an HR department.
Well, that's what, all right, because when you mentioned, so your HR department is Mr. Sawyer along with the administrators and,
Pretty much, and his secretary.
okay. All right, so,
But Mrs. Furtado, you bring up a very, very important
well, I'm a little
point.
confused because I know,
You bring up a great point, a very important point, because I think at the conclusion, and Mr. Lawson, in fact, is a member of that committee, that steering committee for the HR pilot program, which is paid for under Race to the Top funds. One of the recommendations from that committee may be that we need to look at an HR director or a pupil personnel director or something of that nature, by which we don't have the assistant superintendent in charge of HR and a secretary and someone else who's supposed to be taking care of other things as part of that. So I think that committee at the conclusion, this is the last year of that, in fact, grant, I think one of the recommendations, in fact, may be that we ought to look at the oversight of human resources in the district very differently than what you currently have been doing.
I think this committee
Oh,
knows,
right.
and Ken or Dave, feel free to answer this, but how long have we been out an HR
oh,
person?
right.
4 or 5 years, I'd say.
Too long.
I believe it's close
A long
to 5,
time.
yes, too long. Yes, you're correct. Go ahead, Dave.
I think we seem to be a little off the topic of the appointments, but I think that the question, which this committee picked up at the beginning of the term as to whether or not another administrative position was necessary, I think that is one that it'll be our expectation that the administration looks at long and hard in consultation with the committee over the course of the next year. The only thing I would add is that question as to whether or not we, and I think in a perfect world we certainly would, that question has to be asked in the context of what are all of our personnel needs and all of our staffing needs, because the reality is we have other administrative positions that in an ideal world we would have, and this is really not so much a question as to should we have a personnel services director. Certainly we should. It's a question, it's a priority question as to how are we going to staff ourselves to the degree that we need to.
And we've spent some of the time this summer on numerous people at central office as well as building level administrators, the discussion about what that umbrella should be with regard to the governance of the entire school district.
Sure.
You're right on the money.
Thank you, Dave. Bill?
Just
Yep, that's-
because Mr. Sheehan brought it up, the HR pilot program, and I have been involved in it in about the last 3 months of last year, it's an incredibly talented group of individuals from throughout the system. There's administrators, there's teachers at every level. I think every building is represented. And watching the work that they've done and put together at all the different, I'm going to call them levels, but I know that's not the right word, but there's a 9 or 10 different committees that have been putting different parts of it together and putting their own presentations together, and they're actually testing and doing presentations on each other. I would just ask the committee to let them finish doing their work. Like I said, there's an incredibly talented group of people doing some really nice, real special things in that group. And so I would ask to give it some patience, let them finish their projects. I'm sure there'll be a presentation to us at some point when they're ready. But they're doing a lot of great things for the system, and I would ask that we let them finish doing that first. So,
Brenda?
No, I guess when I just heard like HR race to the top and all that, I just took it as when an HR department, and I know that we discussed that before, but I was just, just thinking outside the box, having you and everybody out like a collective, another thing added to your plate. But going forward, that would be something, yeah. I know we looked at it before, but, I don't know. I guess, you know what? I'd be looking forward to, like you said, all the work that they've done in the committees and what they're actually recommending and, so that'd be good. But yeah, no, I'm good.
yeah, I mean, I think
Mr. Lawson said
respectfully, I mean, with all the different parts of it that they're touching on and incorporating into their proposals, I can tell you that they're not going to miss anything. They're going to bring forward, I think, an extremely comprehensive program for us to adopt. So,
I just hope you fully rationale Mr. O'Neill's concerns about when we jump from one thing on the agenda and just keep going and going, but.
I'm sorry,
I've always
that
joked
was
around
me.
with
I
Chris.
heard that and it
Take it
was,
to the personal.
It is interconnected, and it was a
I
good
know.
time to bring it up. And we're going to talk about
Thank
that
you,
when
Mr.
we
Sawyer.
meet, Bill.
Very well. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I'm on one of my agendas when we meet.
Okay, well, I didn't think he was gonna be here because, according to the paper, I thought he was gonna be getting a real good night's sleep after all the hard work he's done, but I see him in the audience. So we're gonna, jump off the agenda for a little bit, and I would ask Principal Rooney to, come up to the Senate table if he would for a second. Again, Principal Rooney, from what I read in the paper, you're supposed to be getting a really good night's sleep after all the hard work you've done, and you
Well, these
absolutely
new
enjoyed it.
expedient meetings, I'll be home at a reasonable time, so.
you have 3 minutes.
You're welcome.
I just, for the public to know, I mean, this whole committee knows, and I know all of Attleboro probably knows by now. But Principal Rooney, Athletic Director Mark Hool, Recreation Director Dennis Waltz, Mayor Dumas, they spearheaded an effort to put a new stadium for us, a new athletic complex. Mr. Rooney and Mr. Hool and Mr. Waltz really will appoint people showing the blue pride and trying to raise $600,000 for new concession stands. And we tell people concession stands, those concession stands also involve the bathrooms that go along with those concession stands. And they've done it in something that I don't think a lot of people had doubts about the time frame you could do that in. We never doubted you for a heartbeat. I'll tell you that right now, Bill. We never doubted you for a heartbeat.
Thank you.
You did a great job. And I would just like you to talk about on how we got there a little bit. And again, I can't congratulate all three of you enough. You guys really deserve every kudo coming your way.
Well, thank you very much, and it's very humbling to be here, and I didn't come here tonight to be able to sit here, so I really appreciate that. I just think that it truly is a situation where a community has rallied behind a project, and the project just happens to be something that specifically benefits the high school. But the K through 12 initiatives that I've seen, just in my short time here in Attleboro, are an indication to me that this facility, once it's complete, will be something that will benefit the future stars of Attleboro, the Special Olympians, the health and phys ed, and also anything else that the city and the community feel would be beneficial. We did have two very significant grants that came through the LG Balfour Foundation, which is rooted in the Attleboro community, came through with a $300,000 one-to-one matching grant. And also the National Football League and the New England Patriots came through with a $200,000 grant But I think it's also important to realize that the $10 contributions, the $20 contributions, the $500 contributions that have been made through our website, and also just the countless hours that have been spent by people, whether it be, asking for donations, washing cars, whatever, recycling bottles. I mean, we've had all kinds of different initiatives that have been a part of this, and I really do think that it's just a situation where, when the school committee approved the feasibility study for us to move forward, and also the NEASC accreditation is something that is very valuable to the high school and very valuable to the district. And when that was something that was part of their requirements for us moving forward with our accreditation, that the mayor and the city council and the school building commission also saw the value in it. And come September 20th, we're going to cut the ribbon on a beautiful new facility that not only will be something for athletics, but our marching band will have the opportunity to have a facility that they deserve to participate in, and also the Special Olympics will return to its rightful home.
Awesome. I can say that I was able to attend a couple of events that they put on, and I can tell you one thing right now, that Mr. Mooney was there long before I ever got there and long after I left. He was a logistical setup man. He did everything.
Do what it takes.
And what a great job, Bill. I mean,
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough for all you've done. And you do have a website where people can see the updates, but we do tell people, come on down and see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful field, something that Attleboro should be proud of. But and the website, Bill?
It's ahsstadiumrenovation.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill. We have anything else from the committee? Dave?
Just congratulations on all the progress so far. I know that for you, Mr. Walsh and Mr. Hula and the mayor, this has been a very comprehensive project that has required, as the chairman said, a lot of hard work. So we look forward to September 20th. And Attleboro is playing Franklin on September 20th?
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, okay.
Playing Dartmouth. We'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony that all of you will be invited to that will begin around 6 p.m. and then kickoff will be at 7 p.m.
Good.
And if the weather is not conducive to having a ribbon cutting ceremony and a game that night, we've already made contingency plans for the following day. I mean, with the turf, we could play the game on, in the midst of rain, provided that lightning wasn't an issue. But we want to make sure that the entire event is done justice. So therefore, we had a discussion today that our rain date is for 1 p.m. on Saturday the 21st.
Again, Bill, I don't know how we got you from a competitive school. I learned that one with the friend raiser, that we're not supposed to say the other names of our competitive school, even though I'm from one of them. But Bill, I can't thank you and Mark and Dennis Waltz for all you've done in this concession stand, and I believe there's something to talking about, maybe late fall, early winter, to start seeing some construction. It's going to be very exciting, and Bill, I just can't thank you enough for all the hard work.
Well, thank you, and I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have my two children in the system if I didn't believe in the system, and again, my prior stops in my career have been wonderful, but I said at graduation that I think that this past year for me has been my most redeeming in education, and that's because of all the vision and the support that's in this room and in this community. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Principal. Very exciting news. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Finance, Facilities, and Procurement Subcommittee, Mr. Ken Parent.
All right, we got 6 warrants. Tom's had a hot hand this summer. First one dated June 19th, in amount of $200,051.69. Appropriation of $133,077.47. Special funds of $13,036.28. Federal state grants of $29,473.28. Bond funds, $24,454.06. Second one dated June 28th, 2013, amount of $1,251,548.18. which appropriations make up $854,925.18, special funds $44,411.02, federal and state grants $14,279.02, revolving funds $337,932.96. Total warrant of, on 7/1/13 of $1,050,602, all of it appropriations. Next one dated July 15th, 2013, amount of $617.51, $51.60. Appropriations $458,754.51. Special funds $2,149.58. Federal state grants $105,427.91, and revolving funds $50,719.60. Next one dated July 24th, 2013, an amount of $43,790.07, of which $37,665.31 appropriations, and federal state grants of $5,935.77. Total revolving funds of $188.99. Last one dated July 31st, 2013, amount of $312,013.20, encumbrances of $122, $316.15, special funds of $38,283.25, federal state grants of $30,267.34, revolving funds of $3,492.30, and federal and state encumbrances of $1,625.95, and encumbered revolving $143,028.21. That's all I got to read in the record, and that concludes.
Thank you, Kim. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.